All right, we're taking a look at Timeless today. This is a newish format to MTG Arena that is basically the vintage to our historics legacy. So we had legacy and we have vintage. Basically, the same sort of thing is going to be how you'd compare historic to the new Timeless format. So basically, instead of having a banned list, there will be a much relaxed banned list and then a small restricted list, which will be interesting. So, going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be testing it out. I'm recording here on December 12th, right as it's dropped, and today has been an interesting day of play. I've ran into a lot of cool new decks, and it's just an all-around fun pile time. So, let's take a look at what we'll be playing today. This is Grixis Shadow. You can ignore the Tarkir tag here. This was just more or less for my bookmarking of when I wanted to start to look into this. This is basically going to be a pretty strong deck of very strong individual cards with a very low CMC that aims to win the game just by beating our opponent down with value. We do actually meet the requirements to be a Lurrus deck, so we will be adding the Lurrus into here. And the whole idea of this deck is basically there's just a lot of good 1 and 2 drops that we can play, especially with some things coming off the ban list or being existing in this format with their unnerfed modes, basically. So what do I mean by that? Well, things like Unholy Heat go back to their unarena'd format, which instead of dealing 4 damage with Delirium, it's now doing the normal 6. Things like Bowmasters have the ETB trigger in addition to the normal draw and trigger. And so yeah, those are the things that are basically being changed back to normal that we could play before. But we get to do some other things now, like play Ragavans, our Mishra's Baubles, a lot of cool things like this that are going to be very, very strong in our deck. So what we want to go ahead and do today here is leverage those alongside of our new Tarkir fetch lands, which are coming now that we have now that these have been introduced to Arena. So there's another really cool angle to what we're playing today. This is going to be a Death's Shadow build. So basically, if you're not familiar with this archetype, what we want to do is hurt ourselves to the point where our 13/13 Death's Shadow can be a creature that does not die immediately on hitting the battlefield. So that means that we need to get ourselves down to 12 or less life, and a really good way to do that is by playing things like our 4 Thoughtseizes, and by playing the combination of these fetch lands, which themselves cost life to activate, and we'll use those to find and shock in our shock lands. So with all that going for us, we should be able to get to a pretty big Death Shadow here, and the idea being that we'll leverage DRCs, Ragavans, and our Kroxa and Orcish Bowmasters along the way to put pressure. And then finally, this big Death Shadow should be able to come down and beat towards the end of the game and eventually get through. If our opponent's in the way, sometimes we will be able to punch through with Team or Battle Rage, which is a fun thing to do. And other than that, we just are going to sit back and kind of play control. We have 2 Drown in the Locks, 2 Spell Pierces, and some Expressive Iterations for value. So we're not really going to be trying to counter everything. We just want to put permanents on the battlefield and just be aggressive. We also, of course, have proactive hand hate with Thoughtseize. So it's as if we have 8 ways of dealing with the things that our opponents play. Kroxa is kind of notable in here because while we do get to play a Lurrus deck, we will have a bunch of things in the graveyard. And in the case that we just want to get a big Kroxa out and deal some damage to the opponent, well, that's another good way to spend our graveyard resources. Not everything needs to be played back through Lurrus. With that being said, let's hop into some games here and see what this new format has for us. This is Grixis Shadow. Hope you guys enjoy. Before we hop into the games, if you're enjoying the content both in our historic pillar and in our new timeless pillar that we're going to be starting to work on here, do subscribe if you're new here. It helps me out a lot. And if you're a returning subscriber, it would mean a lot if you would like the video or leave some comments on it. Helps out with the algorithm a lot. Now let's hop into round 1 and see what Grixis Shadow has to offer for us. Here we go. Alright, it's round 1 here. We have a Thoughtseize, EI, and eventually a Death Shadow. I think I'm going to keep it. So let's go ahead, and we don't need to shock everything. We might as well see what we're playing with first before we go ahead and get down to it. And this is Mill, okay. So I think that Ruin Crab is probably going to be the most annoying thing that they're going to have for us. Maddening Cacophony will suck, but it will turn on Lurrus and Kroxa. Teresian Mindbreaker is pretty bad for them to have in graveyard, so I think I definitely just take the Ruin Crab. That's also their turn 1 play, except for the pilot. Okay, so we have 2 Death Shadows here. We're gonna probably shock in here, try to Spell Pierce their next spell. Flipping one of those is a lot of tempo for them. We're gonna discard 2 cards, getting the Thrizian Mindbreakers into the graveyard, okay. We're at 16, getting closer to that Death Shadow range. A fetch land will allow me to get there. Not quite. So they have 3 cards in graveyard. Eventually these Thrizian Mindbreakers are going to be a thing that we want to deal with. Pilot, we cannot kill, so we just pass. We're looking for a red land to cast EI, I think. Founding the 3rd path. I think that this is going to be a good one to just go ahead and counter. They could have Spell Pierce. Okay, fine. And we have Unholy Heat, but no way to cast it. That's unfortunate. With 1 more mana, that is going to be a Thrizian Mindbreaker on the battlefield. And that's not a good thing. Founding the 3rd path does come down. We do have backup counterspell for that. We're going to be at 13 after this. We can just draw a land here. Mishra's Bauble is not terrible. We will take that. We're going to immediately crack this and probably take a look at the top of their library. They are about to draw Praying Sanity. Not a card that I'm excited to see. We'll pass. Alright, opponent will hit us into Death Shadow territory. We do not draw land, but that is our red mana source, which is great. Praying Sanity, you got it. Whatever, whatever. Okay, and so we gotta drop this land out. And then we're gonna need to do some combination of Ragavan, Unholy Heat. I can dash Ragavan. I think I'll do that. Blue, we get in for 2. And they exile a land, unfortunate. We could EI, or we could just play Death Shadow and hold on. Unholy Heat can't take out the pilot, but maybe something else can be taken out by it. We just gotta hope they don't have that 4th land. Okay. Maddening Cacophony, you got it. We do not hit our Kroxa. And we're gonna mill again pretty hard with Praying Sanity. We will no blocks. Death Shadow grows. And we're gonna mill another huge bit. Okay. And move to our turn here. Here's Bloodstained Mire, so we can get pretty deep into our life total here. I think that I might just dash Ragavan again. That just seems like a decent use of my mana. And we can probably play another Death Shadow and then hold up Unholy Heat. Or we could just play Expressive Iteration trying to find something. I think either way I'm going to be Bloodstained Mining myself. We need to get a 2nd red for Kroxa, so it's going to be Blood Crypt. We will pay the 2 bucks for this. And now we have a 5/5 Shadow. That's pretty solid. DRC also does come in a delirious state. So I think we're going to first attack, and then see what we flip with Ragavan. Opponent's at 11. We can show them lethal. We get Merfolk's Secret Keeper. We do not need a blocker. In fact, we're happy to not have blockers at all. So is it going to be Expressive Iteration taking something into hand then? I think that I want to play Death Shadow. We do need another one of these. I may just need to play out some blockers. And then, do I drop a DRC or do I play Expressive Iteration and hold up Unholy Heat? Unholy Heat can kill a Teresian Mindbreaker, so we do need to hold that up. I think I'm fine to just play a DRC here. We just need to set up lethal as quickly as possible. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with that turn. We'll just end it here. Ragavan comes back to hand. Everyone's going to mill a little bit. And there's our Temur Battle Rage. That's unfortunate. We would have really liked to draw that. We'll pass. And let's see what they play here. We're going to stop them at their combat. And see what Experimental Pilot's going to do. They could draft something by discarding cards, sure. They're going to hope that they have a land here, and by the fact that they haven't played anything yet, I can see that that's not going to happen. So we're going to mill basically 16. Fine. There's our Croxa. And do they have any more than that? No. That's great for us. Okay, we're going to mill again. And we should be able to win with Unholy Heat here. Drop a Polluted Delta, we will go Unholy Heat, targeting Experimental Pilot. We'll play the Ward. Auto pay. And then we will keep this Thoughtseize on top. We are representing lethal right now, so I'll go ahead and just attack all in. And that is game one in the bag. Okay. So, what worked out for us here? Definitely our opponent not drawing their fourth land was a big part of what went well here. But I'd say that even with the Teresian Mindbreakers on the horizon, we were still pretty much covered by this unnerfed Holy Heat and our Croxa that hit the bin, because that was going to be another really good source of damage here pretty soon. Alright, so the Death Shadows got out and got to do their thing. We got to use a couple of fetch lands and make them bigger for it. All is a lot of fun. Alright, so that's round one. Let's hop into round two. Here we go. Alright, here we go. This is round two. We have a lot of shock lands to start off, and we can cast Expressive Iteration on two using these Mishra's Baubles. Down. Let's go ahead and shock in for a DRC. This is actually going to be a great usage of our Mishra's Baubles here. We'll be able to start to fill up the graveyard pretty quick here. Would I like a fetch land? I think I'd rather just have some stuff in the bin. I need to start looking for some threats and things as well. Here's a Mishra's Bauble. I don't think we need a third Mishra's Bauble. We'll end up putting 3 of these in the graveyard. And, yep, we got Lightning Bolt coming up. Okay. And then we're going to wait until they draw. And we'll activate a Mishra's Bauble basically sometime during their turn. We are going to Mishra's Bauble them one more time, so if their next draw is... It will be a Blood Crypt. Okay. So it looks like we had to deal with Lightning Bolt and Thoughtseize gameplay. Sure. I think they'll probably end up bolting my DRC. Maybe they take my Ragavan here? Okay, sure. It's Thoughtseize again, taking Ragavan, I think. Ragavan is what I would hope they'd leave me with, and wow, that's actually pretty sweet. That gives us Delirium on our DRC as well. We actually draw backup Ragavan of all things. That's pretty sweet. And we can really only play one of these cards, so this is going to come in tapped. We can basically hide for a little bit and pretend that we are not, in fact, a... we can hide and make sure that the opponent doesn't think that we are indeed a Death Shadow deck. They're Mardu, so they're definitely playing something interesting in white. Not really sure what that's going to be, though. They shock in here. And Lightning Bolt goes to DRC, which I don't think is the move. Ragavan is going to be a lot worse for them. We'll swing in here. Get the Rag in. Bowmasters, okay, sure. So they're gonna kill my Ragavan. No, they're not. Okay, they're gonna kill it with the token, I guess. Sure. So let's shock in here. And then I can just... I could dash my Ragavan. I could dash this Ragavan. That would make them have to decide if they want to block. I think I like that idea. And if they don't block, I get to play DRC. Did I just do that post-combat? That's hilarious. Oh yeah, that's right, because they flashed it in during combat. I just, like, was not paying attention, I guess. Opponent's at 9 here. I think I'm probably just going to show them Ragavan again. We're basically going to redo the last second phase that I had. Let's send Ragavan in. They're going to bolt it? No, they're going to swords it. Gotcha. Well, here's a Mishra's Bauble. We'll take a look at the top of their deck. Sheoldred's Edict, that's good to know about. We'll probably try to bait that with DRC, I think. Bowmasters gets to hit me for 1 in the token. That's annoying for sure. Luckily, we don't draw too much. Will they cast anything? They will not. We get to go to 12 here, and that means that we get to play both DRC, which we'll do now. I'm going to move to my second main, see if I can bait off the Sheoldred's Edict. I can. Do I Spell Pierce this? Probably not. That goes away, and now we drop our Death Shadow. Okay. And now we just have to take a little bit of damage before Bowmasters comes in. Cool. Nice. So the damage is just about tied up here. We get to start going on with Bloodstained Mire, and we can pump this thing to a 6/6. What color do I want? I think Blood Crypt. Pay 2 life. Here's a Lurrus. And then Lurrus is basically going to start casting crap out of our graveyard for us. That will be nice. It's another Bowmasters, okay. Are they going to ping us or the Death Shadow? Oh, okay. Bowmasters down. And we're going to have to see what their next turn looks like here. Is this a Swords on my Death Shadow? They go in. Put me to 3. My Death Shadow is a 10/10 now. What is this last card? Path of Peril. I wish I had more than just a Spell Pierce. That's unfortunate. Okay, that is actually completely fine for us, though, because we have a Lurrus. Let's just go ahead and recast the Death Shadow. Now they have to top deck something. And then we could go to 1, but I mean, I guess regardless of how this goes down, if they draw Lightning Bolt, we're dead. And then if they draw Swords, it's still not over. We'll just pass. Tractor Mire, sure, puts them to 8. Looks like we got him. Alright. Well, that Lurrus Companion ended up being pretty solid for us there. Glad it worked out alright. That's round 2 in the bag now. Here comes round 3. Alright, round 3. Let's go. So we have no creatures, but we do get a turn 1 Thoughtseize, potential turn 2 Spell Pierce, and an EI to work off of after. I like it. So we'll start with the Thoughtseize. This is definitely combo oriented. The question is, do we want to work against Bowmasters or Sheoldred? And I think that the idea is probably get around that turn 1 Sheoldred. Or I guess in this case it'd be turn 1 Bowmasters, turn 2 Sheoldred. What am I saying? It's turn 1 Bowmasters or turn 2 Sheoldred. They only have 1 Dark Ritual. We'll take their Sheoldred, I think. Now, if they wanted to, they could Dark Ritual out this Bowmasters. Let's see if that's what they want to do. Maybe they Okay, they can take one of my spells now. And now actually this is good because I can hold up Spell Pierce. So should I shock Steam Vents? I think I'll shock Steam Vents instead of using the Deltas right now. This means we get both Spell Pierce and Drown in the lockup. Let's just hold some. It's as if they were to take one of my counter spells anyway, so we might as well keep one a secret. And that's just a Ragavan, okay. Well, we can kill a Ragavan, and I think that we definitely do. We are definitely afraid of that creature sticking around. We're just happy to work with what our opponent's doing. So I think we can force them to use Orcish Bowmasters in their upkeep in order to deal with my Mishra's Bauble. I think I want to do that. They're drawing another Dark Ritual, which is scary if they have Shieldred in hand. We'll leave this Polluted Delta here and probably end up activating it. Let's see if they flash in Bowmasters here. They saw me look at their cards, so they know that I'm okay with this and that I've thought about it. I'm going to go ahead and Polluted Delta right now, just to kind of get ahead. And do I want to take damage? Probably not, because I don't know if I'm going to have my my good friends, the Death Shadow, right now. So we'll just put that in tap here. We will get a draw. They're going to get a little bit more here, so it's as if I shock this Blood Crypt. And now we get to go to our turn. We have drawn bad on lands, that's unfortunate. Let's just take Lurrus into hand. There's Dark Ritual, something. If it's if it's hand hate, then that sucks. If it's removal, that also sucks, because I'm only going to be oh man, that must be Shieldred right here. Yeah. Oh, just Demonic Tutor. Okay, so Demonic Tutor, they can find Shieldred and then play Shieldred. That's brutal. What a play pattern. That's pretty awesome. Oh, the One Ring. Okay, I'm actually happier seeing the One Ring than Shieldred. We got it. Let's go ahead and crack this. Go to 9 now. Well, hopefully all this hurting of ourselves is not in vain. Draw our card here. It's another land. What an unfortunate set of circumstances we got here. Well, here's a Lurrus. Be able to get our Mishra's Bauble out. I think that I'm probably happy to go ahead and use this now. I guess I'll look at the top card of the library. It's going to be EI. Do I want to shuffle that away? I think I do, actually. We'll shuffle away for a Watery Grave this turn. Again, not shocking. We will draw. They will get their Bowmaster's trigger. Wow, we have hit a stretch of just, I don't even know how many lands that was. Maybe like 7 or 8. Unfortunate. Well, eventually we'll be out of lands and then we'll just draw all gas. Let's go. The question is if we'll be able to survive by then. Alright, we've successfully baited out a Thought Seize. That's huge. Let's see what else we can do here. I figured Lurrus was probably going to die at some point. That's unfortunate. We need to find something here. That is technically something. I'm going to go to 2 here. And find out a Blood Crypt. And then we're going to have to use Drown in the Loch to take out the Bowmaster's trigger. We'll go to 1 then. And this is going to be a tough game to win from behind on. Here's Drown in the Loch. We're going to destroy that creature. And I think we've kind of just gotten to the end of what we can support here. You can only draw so many lands before the game ends. We'll pass. And we are at 1. What happens now? There's the Shieldred to finish us off in our upkeep, and to add insult to injury, there's going to be our 12/12 Death Shadow. Unfortunate. Okay, well, sometimes that's the variance that gets you there. Round 3 in the bag. Let's hop into round 4. Alright, here we go. So this is going to be round 4. We have a bunch of Thought Seizes and a bunch of ways of making ourselves lose life. I think I'm interested. So let's start off with a Thought Seed. I'm not going to dip super hard into the life total, but we do want to take a little bit of damage here. So this is going to be some sort of Turbo Sorin build. Okay. So they don't currently have a vampire to put out. So I think if I take Cordial Vampire, I feel pretty happy about myself. Or actually, even better, I take Dark Ritual. They don't do anything on turn 1. Then turn 2, I take something else. We'll cast out some Baubles. We'll play it slow and only look at the top of their deck for right now. They actually just draw another Dark Ritual. Well, that's what I get for not checking early. Alright, we'll pass. Redraw. That is our DRC, which we'll probably play next turn, I guess. There goes Dark Ritual. Here comes Sorin into Cordial Vampire. I'm being mega punished right now. You got it.
I drink only the finest. Smell well aged.
Interesting. I am surprised that they did that. Let's take a look at the top of their deck again. Go for the throat. That's going to be good to Thoughtseize away, I think. That would mean, though, that I have to wait a turn, which is not great. Alright, so let's think about this. I can get a Dimir land, play out my hand this turn, the next turn Expressive Iteration into something. I can get to 11 this turn, so that's enough to play out a Death Shadow. So I can Death Shadow and Thoughtseize, get ready for Steam Vents next turn. My Thoughtseize, I guess, takes out Cordial Vampire. That seems okay. And then all this is just doing is feeding the graveyard for DRC. We have 3 out of 4. I believe we'll have 4 out of 4 after our Death Shadow dies. Doctor going to 13, then we go Thoughtseize, targeting you, take Cordial Vampire, and let's get a Death Shadow into the mix. Just a lowly 2-2, but that will be a 4-4 pretty soon. So another whole hand here. I think it just has to be go for the throat. Yeah, that makes sense. That is, I believe, yep, that's 4 out of 4 Delirium on DRC. Sweet. So let's start off with Expressive Iteration. We need to hit a red land if possible. So we're going to find Polluted Delta, and that will get us there. Do I think my opponent's going to be drawing that much? It's possible. I think Bowmasters may be the move if I think they're going to draw more cards, which, I mean, could happen. I don't know how much of a vampire-focused deck they are, or if they're just going to be mono-black control. Death Shadow is good if I need to kill the Sorin, which I kind of do, but they also haven't put anything out yet. So maybe I just go Death Shadow, try to deal with Sorin. This goes to hand, Bowmasters to deck, and then Polluted Delta goes away. And then we will find something that produces black. Black and red seems good. This will help us with Croxa. Drop it in. Here's a Death Shadow. And let's switch with Bauble, taking a look at the top of their library. They're drawing their third Sorin, which is good for me, bad for them. This means that our Death Shadow should be able to kill. And then Unholy Heat can take out pretty much anything at instant speed. Okay, things are looking good. We're going to exile my graveyard. That's bad for my DRC. Well, let's start off by shocking in a Steam Vent, and then we'll move into combat and swing. Now, I could Luris, I could DRC, I could Unholy Heat. We'll just start with DRC. Now, also, notably, Unholy Heat sucks kind of as well. We can take out another Sorin, so unless they have a creature, I'm fine. I'm going to hold up the Spell Pierce for the next Sorin that they drop.
If you threaten
So either they just drew a vampire, which is not unfortunately. But that does die to Unholy Heat, so it's fine. We get to surveil here. We surveil into the graveyard to try to refill. And looks like, at all odds, despite our earlier misplay, we were able to make it happen. I was so brutally blown away by the fact that they drew that second Dark Ritual after my Thoughtseize. Like, I didn't think it would matter, but what I needed to do was begin with my Mishra's Bauble, look at the top of their library, identify that they were going to have all that mana, and then I should have taken the Cordial Vampire initially. Luckily, it all worked out, but definite little misplay there that I can learn from. Alright, so let's round 4 out of the way. We have one final round here with the deck. Let's get a Death Shadow kill here. Why not? Okay, this is the final round. We have no interaction initially, but this is DRC with Drown in the Loch coming down after it. I think I like that. Here's a DRC. What do you got for me? As long as they don't have a very strong turn 1, I feel happy. Swamp. Bloodsheath. Do I Thoughtseize and then play another DRC? So what if I Thoughtseize and then I'm sad with what I am supposed to take? Yeah, I think I'm down to just... Okay, so here's how I see it. Either the Drown in the Loch... Oh, yeah, no, okay. Let me explain what I was thinking. I was thinking, should I play Thoughtseize and proactively take a card from the hand, or wait and Drown in the Loch? And the answer to that is they have one card in graveyard. Drown in the Loch's not going to hit that much. So let's go ahead and feed their graveyard with Thoughtseize, and before we do that, we're going to play our own DRC so that we can get a surveil. There we go. Okay, so do we want to Spell Pierce? I think a Spell Pierce is perfect at this point of the game. And we get to see what they're playing, which is going to be Duress for 1. Waste Not is most likely their play this turn. And I think that I am going to hold up Counter Magic for Rankle, so I think that Waste Not's probably a good one to get rid of. Yeah, they're going to Duress me, maybe see Death Shadow, maybe see Drown in the Loch. It'd be one of the two. Down to get rid of that. And then I will draw a backup counter spell in case Duress is the move. Cool. They're probably taking Drown in the Loch, but who knows, they could take Shadow. It is Drown in the Loch, so I will draw my Spell Pierce here. We are at 14, so not enough. But now we'll pass. And so I think they play their 3rd and then 4th land here for Rankle. Let's see if they drew a 3-drop or less. Thoughtseize. Okay. Well, are you going to take my Spell Pierce or Death Shadow? Probably the Spell Pierce if I'm them. Makes sense. We can dash a Ragavan here, since the mana is not really going to be used to do anything else. Come on in. What do we draw? Phyrexian Obliterator. Kind of makes sense. And we'll pass. I guess we could have just also played the Ragavan. Well, actually no, it comes back again, doesn't it? So it looks like Rankle comes in here. Are we going to sack each a creature? Discards a card, loses a life, and draws a card. Well, we'll feed our DRC this way. EI off the top. So that's actually really good for us. Let's start with EI. We will surveil a DRC. Shall that go into our graveyard? I think it will. Let's look at the top 3 here. So we do not find a land, so the Steam Vents will be good. Drown in the Loch is going to be great in hand, and then we're going to put an EI back and put Mishra's Bauble out. Here's Mishra's Bauble. We can surveil, and do we have a land in the graveyard yet? We do not, so that will give us Delirium. Sweet. We must attack. They don't necessarily need to. We can kill their Rankle at any point in time. I think that I'm probably just going to play my Ragavan out as opposed to doing anything else with it. So this can be tapped. We can go Ragavan just tap normally. And then we'll swing in here. Well, let's take a look at the top of their deck. It is a Phyrexian Obliterator, which is not good. Well, it's actually fine because Drown in the Loch can destroy that. Okay, that's the thing. Whenever it attacks, you discard. Each opponent you can't draw a card. When they discard land card. Okay, fine. Loses life, draws a card, each player sacks a creature. Oh, this is great. I just drew Unholy Heat. Oh, we're fine. And then I will probably just let DRC die. We have enough removal in our hand to... Well, we actually get to bring this back somehow. Temple of the Dead, what happens with this? Transform it back into the creature. Oh, okay, sure. I'm surprised that they did it the way that they did it, but okay. We can hold up Drown and Block to take out Phyrexian Obliterator. We could kill Rankle at some point. Either way, I'm just chilling. Bloodstained Mire. We're just going to hold up our mana here. We might be able to buy Lyris. I'm not totally sure how the math's going to work out there. I get my own Alka Lots. Whenever it attacks, each opponent discards a card. I think I'd rather just play out my control magic. We'd have 2 mana left over here, just enough for Drown in the Lock, so if they played Phyrexian Obliterator, we'd be okay. And then if they flip their Alka Lots, that's also fine. I'm actually considering playing this Alka Lots. That gives me a total of 6 damage, so it's not lethal. And the lifelink could help in case things get a little iffy. You know what? I'm going to try this. I think I'm going to try this. Autopay. One turn here. Dark Ritual, okay. So it looks like they want to double cast here. I'm gonna actually have to make a decision here if I want to Unholy Heat Rankle before he can deal any damage. Well, actually, Rankle can't attack because of Alka Lots. Okay, so Drown in the Lock can wait. Drown in the Lock can just work on the destroy mode. So we don't need to do that. Let's see what the second card is. They're going to bring back their Temple of the Dead. Is that what's going to happen? Okay. So, what happens? I take out Obliterator. I take out this annoying card. What's going to happen here? So it's going to be tapped, which is nice. Will they attack? They do not attack. And so now... they're almost dead. So I need to kill the Phyrexian Obliterator. I need to do it without damage. And I need to also kill the thing that's going to give them life gain. So let's kill the thing that's giving them life gain on this turn. Yeah, sure. And then we'll move to our turn. Teamer Battle Rage. Nice. I think that's lethal then. So we're going to go ahead and Drown in the Lock, kill the Phyrexian Obliterator. They have no mana to work with, and this should be trivial. Alright, here's Bloodstained Mire for good effect. We'll go ahead and wait until after blocker to cast Teamer Battle Rage. Sweet. Let them declare blocks. And that was the wrong one. Alright, and that is Lifelink Trample. You're dead. Oh wait, they're not dead because of something that I don't understand. What did I just miss? I did not see how they gained that life, but sure. Oh, this wasn't double strike. It's it's double strike, not dealing all the damage once. Okay. For a second there I was a little confused, but we made it through. Well, that brings us to the end of the series here. I hope you guys enjoyed. This was definitely a lot of fun to play, and I think overall this format's going to be a really nice, high-powered kind of exposure for us. I think that we're definitely getting flashes of the no ban list historic, which definitely was a precursor to this, so I hope that you guys enjoy that content as much as you do the historic stuff that I do. I think in terms of the no ban list historic, that was probably some of the more popular things that I've done. So you'll definitely see a lot of timeless here from me. We may end up doing like a timeless Monday series or something like that. But look for that coming down in the future. For now, hope you enjoyed this video. And if you're new here, definitely like the video and comment if you want to help with the algorithm, and subscribe if you're new for videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's all for me. I'll see you next time. Peace out.